Good morning, Rick. How you doing?
Well, good morning, Keith. How are you today?
Good. I like the turtleneck, man. You like you about to go out, with your pen and paper and write a novel. I like it.
I could use the royalties. I don't have any ideas, but money's always welcome.
You always have ideas, man.
Hey, you got a little snow. Look at that. Wow.
I know, right? I
Yeah.
do, man. Imagine that here in Arizona, man. Yeah, and
Yeah, gosh.
in Maricopa County, man. Yeah, we got a little dusting last night, Rick.
I'll take your word for it. It's the magic of the video land.
Exactly, exactly. Hey, let's go with this one. This topic: take the road that leads to peace. So, you want me to kick it off?
Yes, please. Please. What'd you have in mind?
Rick, I have come to know through the lessons that come from suffering when you're awake to them and not wanting to repeat things or behaviors that lead to more suffering. What I've learned is that in almost every situation there is an easier way. And when I say easier way, it's not that the work will be hard, not that the work will be challenging. A lot of it is challenging, but it will be easier than the alternative, which is filled with suffering plus the hard work. And so if I can eliminate the suffering part of it, it's just a lot better. So for example, this is a lot of people go through this whole thing, at least I did too, that for me to like you, I had to know some background. Our personalities had to mesh. We had to have similar values and thoughts and things like that. Like I had all these things that I had to go through before I would treat you a certain way. And there's an easier way. Just be kind. I've heard people say things like, well, who did they vote for in the last election? You know what's easier than learning what that is? Just be kind. Or I've heard people get twisted in knots about certain things, something very that takes no effort on your part, but means the world to another person. So, for example, gender pronouns. Whether someone wants to be called him, her, they, or whatever the case may be, people want to know, like, okay, where did that come from? I can't remember. It's so confusing. What? No, it's not. Just be kind. Whatever that person wants to be refer to it. And it's simple. So, and that's what I mean. Like, take the road that leads to peace, that leads to being kind. The author that we both have listened to, Michael Singer, said that if you are, let's say, taking a coast to coast trip, or let's make it even smaller. You're leaving from Sedona or Phoenix, and you're traveling to San Francisco. Which road do you take? The one that leads to San Francisco. You don't take the one that takes you off to Vegas or takes you to Austin, Texas. But that's what people do, man. They take the roads that don't lead them to inner peace, that don't lead them to experiencing more joy in their life. And some of those roads along the way, they have different signposts, Rick. One signpost says to peace. The other signpost says worry, anxiety, depression, judging, anxiety, fretting, just all these other things, instead of the one that leads to peace. And the one that leads to peace, along the way, there's rest stops. This rest stop says, let it go. This rest stop says, acceptance. This rest stop says, treat everybody like they're a friend. There are all these rest stops along the way. Don't make life difficult. Don't make that a big deal. But we take these detours, and next thing you know, man, we're way off track. So what does that title mean to you? Take the road that leads to peace.
Well, Keith, that's great. I love that idea of having the little rest stops where you get to let things go and forget about your attachment. That's a wonderful analogy. You're right. I think what people do a lot of times is they have conditions. In other words, they have obstacles to getting to peace. So, for example, people don't say this, but I think what they really mean is if you were only more like me, then I could be peaceful. If only you would control your behavior, then everything in my life would be a lot better. So if you start off with the attitude that everybody else is the one who's causing you upset, right, you're never going to get anywhere because you're never going to be able to eliminate all of the things that you don't like in quotes, judgment that you don't like about other people. So the Dalai Lama said something I thought was very profound. And he said, you know, if you boil most religions down, in fact, I think he said at one point, all religions down, you'd come to the idea that it's two things. It's selflessness and it's kindness. And
Yes.
I think that's really actually one thing when you think about it. If you have to stop and think about being kind, it's something that at least forces you to get outside of yourself. You know, if you're focusing always on why is this person doing what they're doing, or this person was mean to me, or this person said something that I think is just not right, and therefore I'm not going to give those people or that person the kind of break or love or kindness that I normally give, that gets in the way of inner peace for yourself. And I think a lot of things that happen in life, not only are they uncontrollable, but you're going to find people all of the time who are going to be doing things that are different than you would expect. And you can't have the attitude, at least I don't feel I can have the attitude and have peace of, hey, you have to change before I can accept it and before I can be peaceful. I think you're so right, Keith. Along the way, when you go on that roadmap, the roadmap takes you directly to where you want to go, whether it's going to be Vegas or whether it's going to be San Francisco or if it's going to be some other place. But if you're trying to get to San Francisco, you need to be clear that Vegas is not the route. So in other words, if you want to have inner peace, judging other people and having them suit your needs and be like you is not what's going to bring you inner peace.
I totally agree, Rick. You know, and the road or the path to where you want to go, it can be arduous, you know,
Oh, yeah.
and why would you make it even more difficult, you know? And so, but a lot of people kind of lose sight of, and I know I did, you know, as Keith 1.0, I would lose sight of and be distracted. Like, oh man, look at those bright lights on that billboard over there. And it's taking me completely the wrong way. And I see
Yeah.
people right now being distracted by bright lights, you know, whether somebody is, you know, right now with the pandemic still going on in the world, whether people are vaccinated, not vaccinated, whatever else, and how it's going to, you know, let's say, for example, if you are a leader in an organization, how it's going to affect your ability to deliver on whatever your core mission is. Well, let me tell you what's not going to help. You worrying about it. That's not to say that you don't take action. You do take action, but that action is informed from coming from a place of inner peace as you work collaboratively with other people. So as you know, modify and try to stay nimble and agile with how you're going to deploy staff and utilize staff to, you know, absorb, you know, the loss of some very valuable candidates, I mean, colleagues, because they chose to take a different path. As you do that, you may have to, along the way, reduce some of the services that are offered, you know, temporarily, or maybe even long term. But if that's going to be the result anyway, why not be peaceful along while you are taking action, while you are deploying these and implementing these different strategies? That part of it is a choice. The other part, you may not have a choice about it, but how you approach things, how you utilize your talents and skills and collaborate with others to deal with situations, that's on that road to, you know, wherever you want to go. So you got to be very careful that there are going to be a lot of things along the way that are going to happen, that are going to be these shiny signposts and flashing lights and telling you we got a lunch special over here. So come over here and take this. And that lunch special is not a lunch special. That's worry and stress over there. Like stay away from that. So you got to root yourself in my experience, and a practice that keeps you aware at all times that when whatever shows up, there is a choice. And if you make the right choice, and when I say right choice, right action, I think that's what the Buddha called it. As you take right action, it will lead you on a straight path to where you want to go. And that path has minimal to no suffering. But the choice is yours. You know, I'm choosing the path that is not riddled with shortcuts and turns and back alleys and whatnot. I'm staying on the open road, Rick, and I am just along the way picking up friends who want to like bless the trip with their kindness and their gratitude. They don't mind, we get a flat tire, stepping out of the car and and helping, take the lug nuts off. That's what I'm looking for along the journey. And it's all a choice, man. But you got to be aware of the choice. And I found that my practice keeps me sharp and alert that I always have a choice in those situations so I can get to San Francisco.
Yes, yes, Keith, well said. And the key is practice, right? It's not just the idea that you're going to get there and remain on this wonderful high. It's something that requires you to look at this every day. And every time that I find myself that I'm judging somebody else, which is daily and often, I catch it. And at least I can make the modification because I know that's the thing that gets in the way of my inner peace, judgment especially.
Yes.
There's lots of problems out there to solve, but you don't want to have to deal with an additional set of problems, which has to do with the anxiety about expecting things to be a certain way, expecting other people to behave a certain way. If you can get rid of that and focus on what the issue is, it's certainly easier and it's more peaceful inside.
I totally agree. Rick, thank you for a great show, man.
Hey, thanks, Keith. Get that snow shovel out, buddy.
I will. I love you.
I love you. Adios.